ndefu sana. But if you have we've had internship for one internship, one attachment, your CV should just be 1 page. Then you have unprofessional referees. There are some of us that we write our bishops, pastors, people that cannot recommend you professionally. Always make sure that you have a professional referee. Then you have CVs that have no name and page numbers. HR mnajua mnaweza kubaliana na mimi hii. Watu wengi wanaita CV zao to curriculum vitae. Some will call it null. I don't know your jina utoka hapi. Na some will call it just CV. And there's this one instance yenye watu kosa. Because you've been in sales, you've been in customer service, and you've been in accounting, uko na CV ya sales. Umeandika CV sales, CV accounting. That one makes an employer suspicious. Kwamba huyu mtu ameandika hii CV fit to hii job. Yeah, you might not have those skills, but you've just written this CV to fit this job. If you are in such a scenario, you have had experience in 3 fields or 3 or 4 fields. Just you can write like J Walemba CV, hiyo unajua ni ya sales. Walemba J CV, hiyo unajua ni ya accounting. Then you can do WJ CV, hiyo ujue ni ya customer service. Rather than uandike CV yako J sales, J accounting, J sales. That one mtu atajua kwamba huyu mtu kuna uongo analeta hapa kwa nini? Kwa job. We have also mistakes that you make in cover letters. I'll talk about a cover letter. Then I can talk about the common mistakes that you make in cover letters. So a cover letter is an introduction letter to a potential employer convincing him why they should hire you for that position. Most of us will confuse a cover letter with an application letter. An application letter is the same in all applications that we are making. The only thing that we change in an application letter is the heading and then the addressee, the person you are sending your cover letter to, your application letter to. But a cover letter will pick specific words from the job description, then have those specific words in the JD. Nowadays there's a system called the applicant tracking system. I think for those of you for job line, ushaipata pale unaambiwa you create an account online. Yeah, you've seen companies like Coca-Cola, Nairobi Bottlers do that. Companies like Safaricom, they do that. You've seen that. So those big companies are using a system that is called the applicant tracking system. Now the applicant tracking system is used to screen the CVs that we have, the CVs and the cover letters that we are sending to potential employers. So what happens is that if your CV does not score a certain, you might not be able to go to the next step of the interview. And the next step of any interview is going for an interview. Is going for an interview. The next step of the application process. So most companies they are at a score of 80%. So CV yako ikipoingiana 80% na hiyo JD, then you get an automated reply. Kwamba we'll just keep your CV in our database for future consideration, but the CV yako haijafikia mtu. So and that email inakuanga imekwambia do not reply. Because CV yako haikufikia binadamu. CV yako ilimalizana na machine huko na ukapata information yako. So what we doing when you are doing a cover letter, you must consider this information. Is it the information in the cover letter similar to the information in the matching the information in the JD? You just don't copy words directly, but there are specific keywords that this cover letter the machine will be looking at. That's why I've said that in the second part of our CV we have the technical skills. Most the applicant tracking system will pick the skills from that part, your technical skills. Now there are free screening, ATS screening apps on the website. So what you do when you've done your CV and you've done your cover letter, before you make that application, you can just go online, then do ATS screening, free ATS screening. You paste your cover letter, you paste the JD of that position that you've applied for. Then have it give you a score. And it will always tell you the mistakes that you've made in that application. Kama CV yako ime score 26%, itakwambia you've scored 26% because your CV is missing A, B, C, D. So you have to correct it again, then feedback, so that it can give you at least a score. yenye iko above 80. Score isipofika above 80, don't waste your time applying for that position. So there are mistakes that you have in a cover letter, and a cover letter should have at most 3 paragraphs. So the first paragraph should be an introduction on why you're applying for that position. The second paragraph should be telling us about the specific skills that you have that are similar to the job that you're applying for. And then the third paragraph of that application letter should give us your personal attributes or the soft skills that you have that are related to the specific position that you're applying for. So there are common mistakes that you have in applications that you make in our applications. Using multiple one cover letter for multiple applications. Ushaipata mtu amekutumia barua ilikuwa imeenda Nairobi Bottlers, but inakuja unajipata iko Kenya Nut. Yeah, they just change the topic na wanasahau change they change the nini pale juu. They change on the nini pale juu heading subject of that position, then they don't check the body of that cover letter. So unajipata ametuma a wrong cover letter kwa wrong employer. Will an employer give you a chance when akipata nini kama hiyo umefanya? No. So another mistake we make, we don't align the cover letter to the JD. Then poor address and lack of a signature. Pale chini we have apps that can give you online signatures that you can be using to make your applications. Sign up pale chini unasema yours faithfully, you can do your signature, then you have your name, official names on that knee. Then the other I think why is a cover letter and a CV useful in employability? You can see that a cover letter and curriculum vitae provides the hiring manager with the details of how your qualifications, skills, and previous experience align with the job that they have advertised for. So 26% of recruiters have replied they have made a decision to shortlist candidates purely because of the CV and the cover letters and how it was presented. You can get hired just because of a good CV. Now, I'll be showing you an example of a cover letter and a CV just after I'm done with this part. We will do the basic interview preparations, the common interview questions that we'll find when we get out of the job market. So, so you have been secured a big interview. Now it's your chance to really impress. Preparation ahead of time will help you keep and perform at your very best. Once you have the interview confirmed, the first thing you need to do, you need to research about the organization. You need to do enough research about the organization. Then fully examine the job description. I do interview coaching, and the first thing I'll ask you when you come for coaching is that do you have the JD for this position? If you have the JD, which responsibility are you unable to handle? If you are able to handle all the responsibilities in the JD, then you're good to go. So what we'll have to take you through is the basic. We'll do basic general questions for an interview and the mock interview process. Prepare the possible questions and answers for an interview that you're going for. Then conduct mock interviews. It just helps increase your confidence and release anxiety. I remember the first time I was standing before students to give a speech. I could not do it because I was just trembling. It was the first time I was doing it, and it was so hard for me to do it. But with time, after several trainings, I got the confidence now to do it. So confidence is key in any interview. Then you have said that the last one is pack and dress accordingly. Pack and dress accordingly. When you go for an interview and you are wearing jeans and someone else is wearing a suit, who will they give that job? So always make sure that it must not be a real suit per se, but dress well when you're going for an interview. Najua mtaniuliza mbona mimi sina suti, what do I do? So the basic questions in an interview, we have Tell us about yourself. That is the first question in 90% of the interviews that you'll go for. At this point, a recruiter wants to know if you are the person that you understand the job that you've applied for. Then you give your academic history and you give your skills that are relevant to this position. So tell us about yourself. When you're responding to this question, the first thing you need to do, you have to introduce yourself first. Then you talk about your academics. The second, you talk about your skills in relation to this job, the skills that you have in relation to the job that you've applied for. Then the third part you talk about is the attributes that are relevant to this position. For example, if I've applied for a consultant role, I'll say that my name is Walemba. I hold a bachelor's commerce in HR and a diploma in personnel management. I've 4 years experience working as a lead consultant with Cvs, whereby I've been involved in getting job descriptions, hiring on behalf of clients, meeting clients to understand their recruitment needs, and I'm a good leader, I'm a good problem solver, I have good interpersonal communication skills. Then you end your tell us about yourself there. But if you held other positions that are relevant to this position, you can just mention them now at that point. But make sure that you've talked about 3 or 4 skills that you have that are relevant to this position that you are applying for. Another question is, what are your weaknesses or what are your strengths as an individual? So when you ask about weaknesses, we get interviewees that will tell us that they don't have weaknesses. That is a big lie. Everyone has weaknesses, and you must know how to handle your weaknesses. There are those weaknesses that you can talk about that will not help you learn this job. Zitakurusha nje. Someone will talk about, mimi niko na shida ya kuamka mapema. So that shows that you are a poor time manager. If you cannot wake up early, then we'll tell you to go back and sleep. So make sure that you talk about a weakness that you can work on. How are you working on this weakness to make it a strength? You can talk about a weakness like, I'm so keen on details that sometimes I tend to use, concentrate, take much time on a task. But when I gain the skills and when I understand the concept of that task, I'll be able to handle the task well in future. Unaona? So you talk about a weakness, then you talk, you give, being a fast learner, I'm able to gain the concept faster and I'll be able to handle the task well in future. So that is a weakness that you've talked about. You concentrate so much, or you give so much attention to a task that it makes you spend more time on that task. But you are working on it. Ukisha gain that concept, you can now be able to handle well. Then why should we have, about strength, strength is the opposite of weakness. So in any position, whether when you are going for a customer service role, when you are going for a HR role, when you are going for you as fresh graduates, there are those strengths that you must talk about in any interview. Talk about being attentive to details. The second one you need to talk about is being a quick learner. The third one you need to talk about is having good interpersonal skills and communication skills, because those are the skills that will help you learn from your seniors, or those are the skills that will help you learn from those people that you'll be working with. So make sure that you talk about them when you're in any interview. Then why should this company hire you? Why should you be hired by this company? The reason why you should be hired for this company, if you are fresh graduates, you need to tell them that you have the theoretical knowledge in that area, but now you need to gain the technical skills. So you coming to this company so that when given a chance, now you can gain the technical skills and grow your career in that specific profession. So that is the reason a company should hire you. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? I think for those in HR, you'll tell me that most people have told you that they want to have their own companies. So it's a good question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? When an employer asks about, no any employer or no any business person will want to be hiring today, hiring tomorrow, hiring the day after tomorrow. So any employer will want a company where they'll have to stay with you for longer. And when this question is asked, there are 2 ways to respond to this question. You can talk about it in the professional way, in the career way, or you can talk about it in the academic way. For example, you are someone in accounting and just joined. you're doing your CPA 1 or CPA 2, you can talk about in 5 years I'll have to have cleared my CPA. I'll like to be a CPAK and be a senior accountant in this organization to help the organization meet its financial goals. Don't tell the company that you'll be looking to work with an NGO, because no one will give you this job, because we know if you're looking to work with an NGO and you've come to a private company, that means that you are coming there just to pass. So maybe in the next 1 year or 2 years we'll have to recruit for that position again. As much as we know that it's evident that everyone wants to grow, but you don't want to hear that in any interview. And in an interview, what happens is that the best interviewee always gets the job. There are those people that we recruit that are so good at responding to interview questions, but are not good at performing. So the best interviewee will get the job. Atajifunzia uko mbele, akishindwa now we can fire. But the best interviewee will get the job. So another question is, what are your salary expectations? I know for this question, if they ask fresh graduates, some of us will say 50,000, some of us will say 20,000, some of us will say 100,000. What happens for this question? For me, I always advise fresh graduates just to be unique when you are responding to this question. I know 90% will quote a figure. Only a smaller percentage will be wise enough to say that for me, I'm looking for internship or I'm looking for attachment, I'm more interested in the skill rather than the money. So being interested in the skill, I will want an organization. I'll want the organization maybe to cater for my fare and maybe small part of my bills, so that the organization will, this potential employer will understand that this person is more interested in getting the salary than the money. So if the organization has a budget for that position, they'll tell you what the budget they have for that position. But if you're quoting 50,000 and the organization can give 20,000, will they give this opportunity? So assuming you are 10 interviewees, you've gone for the same position. Someone is talking about being interested in the skill, and you are talking about getting 30,000 or getting 100,000. That will be, they'll consider the person they consider the person who is talking about the skill. So make sure when you're talking about salary, for those people who are in employment, it's a very different story from those people who are just graduated. So if you are in employment and you've been asked about salary expectation, make sure that there are also factors that you need to consider. Is my current employer a toxic environment, or is my current employer a good environment? Do they offer other benefits apart from salary? So you have to consider those factors before you make a decision on how much you are expecting this position. For example, I'm earning 100,000 and we have a medical cover, and then my role is a permanent and pensionable position. That will be different from someone who is earning 200,000 and they don't get cover or they are not permanent. So you must consider these factors before you make this decision. And also another thing you need to consider about before you make a decision on salary is that you might be working in a different profession that is different from what you studied. But now umekuwa ukifanya kazi kama customer service, but this is an opportunity for an accountant position. You will have to consider that if the accounting position is paying much below what you wanted to, what you currently earning. For example, they are paying 30, you're earning 100. Will you consider that position? If you want to grow your career in accounting, you'll have to consider that, then take the 30,000 and grow your career. But if you don't want, if you have passion in customer service, you can go the customer service way and proceed with the career. So make sure that you have these factors in when you are talking about salary expectation and how much you need to earn. So interviews are like sales process or a first date. So confidence, likability, enthusiasm are very crucial. Nobody wants clueless people. And for you as fresh graduates, when you're doing research about the company, make sure that you have this in mind, that every employer is looking for a problem solver. Hatutaki mtu akuja kuongeza shida. So what problem are you coming to solve in our organization? That one you should be very clear when you are going for an interview. So there's this letter that I would like us to go through very fast. Just read about it, then we can I can show you examples of a cover letter and a CV. So this is a letter to Kenyan graduates. Whether you got first class, second class, pass, whether you studied law, software engineering, production, chemical, actuarial science, or education, understand that there are no jobs. The first thing you need to do as a graduate is to separate yourself from the sense of entitlement, that thinking that you deserve the best because you worked hard in school. Life out here is very different. Secondly, as you graduate, for a moment, don't be fixated on what you studied. Most people are employed in fields that they did not study. They end up doing well and pursuing it as a career. Thirdly, when you graduate, don't limit yourself to big companies. You read in the newspapers because everyone is applying there and they can't absorb everyone, every graduate. Trying your luck in the so-called funny organizations that are downtown could see you as a manager in 2 years, unlike being an intern at PwC, KRA, Camry, and such. Fourth, getting regret or no response does not mean that you stop applying. I made more than 1,000 applications over a period of 1 year before I got my first job as an intern, and they retained me in the same organization. Fifth, the attitude you display when you're doing the first job will determine your growth. At a car wash, you may strike a conversation with a CEO or a company as a waiter or even as a cleaner. I speak of a friend who picked a messenger job in Unga Limited. Today is a senior manager in a production right from the other managers, sending him to buy mandazi, and one day he was asked what he studied. When you are in sales, you could be selling loans, insurance, utensils to your next employer. The concept of getting such a job is to get you out of the house, interact with people, and connect to your next level. Sitting in the house as a graduate will not change your life, and complaining on Twitter will not bring you a job. Sending 1, 2, or 20 applications is not enough until you get an opportunity. Finally, if you find a company or someone willing to absorb you as an intern, even if you have a master, take it. That 3 months of your job training can change your life. Going for a master's in the same field you studied that has made you jobless is a mistake. Employers start seeing you as overqualified for a junior position and unqualified for senior position because you don't have work experience. Getting a job before your next master opens your mind beyond textbook knowledge, and you start seeing which careers you can pursue that suit your experience. Finally, all you need is a job to enable you get money to print your CV, buy nice clothes, and for the next interviews for your dream job. Regards. So that was a short presentation. I can show an example of a CV before I sit down. So I'd like to show you an example of a CV that I did for a fresh graduate. This is a cover letter that I would like you to see. Are you able to see it from that point? Yeah? So now, this is a letter that I was doing for someone who's done an analytical chem. So this letter serves as an application for an attachment opportunity or internship in our organization. With the proven interest in manufacturing environments, my academic qualifications and skills parallel your requirements for this role. For several years, I've focused my career path and academic passage of a Bachelor of Science Analytical Chemistry program at JQuat, and this will be an ideal opportunity to grow my technical skills in this field. So this person is talking about growth of his technical skills. Now, for someone who's analytical chemistry, the only place that he needs to learn is in a manufacturing environment, whereby he can now get to explore more on his skills. So the second paragraph now we're talking about the skills. As a self-motivated individual with a positive attitude, I am thrilled by the prospect of accelerating my technical capabilities and transformative leadership qualities for future focused courses and development programs. So this person was a leader. I'll show you the CV I did for this person. Then broadening my skills and by working on highly integrated teams across the globe and collaborating with people of diverse backgrounds, both professionally and culturally, and bring out the best in myself for continuous investment in my well-being and career. So the third paragraph I talked about talking about attributes or the soft skills. I exercise high attention to detail, ensuring accuracy and consistency in my performance, collaborative teamwork, and on-time completion of my tasks. I offer communication, interpersonal integrity, planning, and organizational abilities. My goal is to gain a launchpad in the career in the manufacturing industry and play a pivotal role in achieving organizational goals by offering outstanding services. I will welcome the opportunity to meet you and provide credence for my claims. Yours sincerely. Then you have your signature and then you have your name down there. So an example of a cover a CV for the same will be this. This is an example of a CV for that position. Now, we have ABC, telephone number, then email. Then we have the professional summary. I talked about the professional summary. From the professional summary, you can understand what this person is looking for in his career. I'm a well-presented, intelligent, and highly focused individual who is keen on a career in the manufacturing industry. Now, this person wanted to apply for a position in the manufacturing industry. So from the summary, you can understand it. I possess a track record of delivering outstanding service, leading teams, as well as recognizing and developing opportunities. I'm eagerly seeking an attachment or entry-level position in a pro-learning environment to gain much-needed practical experience. I'm an ambitious, analytical, fast learner, team player with good interpersonal skills and a desire and drive to prosper in all assigned tasks. Now, I talked about the areas of expertise whereby you don't get we use the first position to get the areas of expertise. So I'll skip here kidogo before. Then you have the academic qualifications, Bachelor of Science, Analytical Chem, JQuat, then high school. Then now we have the working experience. This guy was a life skills coordinator at JQuat. Ajaifanya internship or attachment, so he was a life skills coordinator, but now we developed a CV from what he has just been doing. So now I talked about the technical skills comes at the third part of the CV. We gain them first from this first role that we have on the CV. So the first position, I talked about the overall purpose as well. The overall purpose is responsible for implementing and coordinating and evaluating all training school. So there are skills that we gain here, the technical skills that we gain from this JD. Conducting student needs assessment, that is a skill we gain. There is needs assessment. Attend seminars, you have to learn new training methodologies and techniques. We have the training methodologies as a technical skill. The assess the impact of each training program. We have it as a program impact assessment as a skill, a technical skill as well. So now this position, because it's still held up to date, you can see it conducts. The present continuous tense is what we are using. Then we have the other positions that he's holding. Is the chairman he held before. He was the chairperson of this society of chemists. We talk about the present, the past tense now. Planned, facilitated, and advocated. And then because he held two positions, we can just now list other positions that is held. And because he had no other much experience in terms of his career, we can add the certifications. These certifications are only valid because he has no other experience. But when he has the experience, we'll always make sure that we do away with the certifications and have the relevant experience on the CV. The referees we have name, position, organization, telephone number, then email. Make sure that you have them in that order. Unless we have questions that will be, maybe we'll respond to them after very stopped. Do you have any questions? Yes? Maximum, we have 3 referees. I think if you have gone for attachment, you can have 1 supervisor, then 1 lecturer. But you have more than 2 positions, you should have 3 referees. In terms of age, no, we don't have that information on the CV. Something that I was almost forgetting is that now just below the date and below the date, the email address, you can have your LinkedIn profile URL. Just below the email and the date, then the telephone number, you can have your email, your LinkedIn URL. I know do you know how to get the URL from your LinkedIn profiles? Yeah? Do you? Ukienda pale kwa LinkedIn ufinye profile yako. The same happens on Facebook as well. If you click your profile on Facebook, then you copy that link yenye inakuanga kwa browser hapo pale unaandika address. Copy that link and you have it on your URL. If someone clicks that link, inafaa imlete kwa profile yako. So that is something that should be on your CV as well when you have your LinkedIn account. And make sure when you have that on your LinkedIn account, on your CV, your LinkedIn account should be similar to your CV. They should match. Kama zifanani usiweke. Any other question? Yeah. Yeah. Thanks so much for that. I think I had mentioned that as well. And also I talked about CV pages. From that you can see ABC CV, page 1, page 2, page 3. It also helps reduce that. And then another thing that I would like to maybe share before I sit down is that we have our email addresses. We have our email addresses that we use to send these CVs. But the name that it displays, the other side is different. Make sure that when you're using this email address, if you have an email address that you think is not well, or you can't handle it, or you can't change what, or you're using it for different purposes, maybe social media, just have an official email address that you can be using for your applications. Another thing is that for those people who save your CVs on Drive and use them to send your applications, try sending it to your friend, you see if it can open. We've had instances where you've made an application but your CV cannot open. And if it's a smaller position, someone calling you looking for your details will be a difficult thing to do. So make sure that you have that content on your CV as well.
Thank you so much. Allow me to invite the other IHRM members to take up their seats here so that it will be easy for us to get responses to our questions from a variety. So please feel welcome to come and take up your seats at the front.
afternoon. I think this is an opportunity for you now to ask anything. Anything. It's a privilege. We mentioned the team. Now I'm on both sides. This is our sports team. Because most of the students are on a break. The semester has come to an end. They have finished the exam. And then if you go around, so we managed to get these students because they are luckily enough they are not off. We have a group already that we have released. So maybe also as we answer, we can have that in mind because these are very active in co-curricular already. So guys, it is an opportunity for you to ask questions. Ensure you take advantage of having all these are employers. Okay? All these are employers. So take advantage, ask questions, ask for guidance. We'll have maybe probably 30 minutes, Christine? No, not 30. 20 minutes.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm Walemba. So I have a question that we talk about the big companies. Most of their jobs that they're applying for, you go to apply, they say you can tap the link to apply through our official page. Then on you should have an account on their jobs portal. So the same information, you have to upload it, then apply. So, like recently, the one that was posted about the Judicial Service Commission, the one you go to upload and it takes a lot of time. By the time you're done, mine took all the week, and by the time all the details had uploaded, time had elapsed. The second question, how do you go about, you see an opportunity, maybe you're calling, but it requires a 5, thank you.
Any other question?
Hello, my name is Emmanuel. My question is this: I'm not an HR, but hello, my name is Emmanuel. I'm not in the HR team, but I'm an IT guy, and I've written CV for people too. But as a HR, when you are seeing these CVs, wouldn't you say that this CV is too perfect and it might not reflect what that guy knows, and it has been written by another person just for him to apply the job? Thank you.
Any other?
Is it good evening? Maybe on behalf of my students, because I know I deal with them on a daily basis, and some of the questions they do ask us in our departments, maybe I ask on their behalf. Number one is, how long should a cover letter be? Is it 1, 2, 3 pages, or the same same number of pages with your? The cover letter should be the same as your CV. You've written a CV of 3 pages, then the cover letter is that long. Number two, does it add any value to beautify your CV? Put borders, write them on different colors, blue, ink, maybe go and buy a very expensive texture of paper just to, to be able to draw some attention to your CV. Does it add any value? The other one is just like our colleague asked. Some of these CVs that you write for these students, especially the entry level, they could look so perfect that sometimes, do you ever get a disconnect between the CV and the interviewee? Are you able to sense that in the interviews? Thank you.
My name is Eli. I was asking.
Kindly stand.
My name is Eli. I was asking if the cover letter is important in the CV. A cover letter.
Good evening. Just asking, since all of us are sportsperson, how much information can you give in relation to your sporting activity?
Any other person with a question?
My name is Augustine. I was asking how long should be the CV, because we understand that employers might not find the time to go through the whole CV.
Any other question?
Good evening. My name is Kevin. Like, for example, there's this not touch on, like in the department maybe of education. You find maybe when you are looking for a job in your CV, there are those requirements that you see you attach whether you are married, you what. Suppose it's my first day, I'm seeking for a job. So how do I go about this issue of marriage, whatever? Requirement.
Yes, Linus.
Thank you, Ezra. My question would be, I've seen certain CVs indicated referees available upon request. Sana sana ya wale wazito. Hawapeanangi details za referees wao. Can we also do that in our CVs? Like referees are available upon request. I've seen top CVs indicated that way. Thank you.
Any other person, even the members of staff, kindly.
Yes, good evening. My name is Simeon. Like, when you find a job application maybe, and you like do it, maybe 2 courses. The job requires an accountant, but you have 2 courses which you undertook somewhere. So should you put both the courses there or just one of it?
Any other question?
Thank you. I would probably want the panel to maybe tell us the importance of dress code when you're going for an interview. And I would also want some clarification. I'm asking on behalf of my students because some of them I know here they ask us those questions. There are some interviews where you go and they're a bit informal, and you may be asked to take a beverage, whether it be wine or coffee or water or whatever. Could the panel tell us whether that is a trap they are putting for the interviewee, or should you say, yes, I think I'm very thirsty, I've really walked from wherever to wherever? Is it a trap? Should you accept those beverages or should you just decline? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Following the question of the beverage, I think in some situations you might be asked to pick up beverage from a different point, and then you got to serve yourself that beverage. Maybe it's a cup or some coffee or tea, and then you come to the table. Are you supposed to return the cup, or you just leave it there, then you go?
Good evening. My name is Nick. I went to ask, in today's job market, you find that someone has done IT and maybe they have a job in accounting. So you can advise them and maybe just randomly apply for jobs without regarding what you've done. Or you have applied for jobs based on what you've done.
Thank you. I want to get a clarification. We were told that for senior positions, it's fine if you mention that referees are available upon requests. However, we have the Data Protection Act 2019 that restricts sharing information with third parties. How do you handle this as you even go for your referees and include their names and their details, having in mind that the Data Protection Act has gotten into effect now? Thank you.
When you go for attachment interview, you're asked, where do you see yourself? Can you just say, hi.
Yes, Linus.
One last one, Ezra. Is there age restriction towards career change if one would like to change from one industry to the other? Thank you.
The question is clear.
My question was, is there a particular age restriction if one would like to change their careers from one industry to the other?
Watu wa kutuma salamu pia.
My question is, what's the best way to explain an employment gap in your CV? Say there's 2 years in your CV that you can't account for. What's the smartest way to explain that so you don't lose your job? I mean, so that you don't lose your opportunity because of an employment gap.
A question will be what we post on social media in terms of our day-to-day lives. Will it affect me when I come for an interview, or when you're trying to choose me when I present my CV? Will it do a background of me about what I post on social media?
Yes, and my question would be, if I have done I've gone for my first assignment, work assignment, then let's say that's the first experience. I've been employed, I've been working there. Then let's say I was being paid 20,000. Then I'm applying for this new job, I've gone for an interview, and I've been asked, which salary range do you want us to pay you or expect us to pay you? So the question is, do you like state how do you answer that question? Do you state the amount? Like, how do you go about it? Thank you.
My question will be another question in terms of how will you handle cultural beliefs, religious beliefs in a working environment. Maybe you are working and maybe there are days you might not go to work because of religious beliefs, and also maybe you are dressing code because of cultural beliefs. So are we able to, as people are going for interviews, are you able to handle that? How do that one come out? And especially when you find an organization saying that they're an equal opportunity employer.
The question is clear? Any other person?
My name is Zena. My question is, if I want to apply for a job, let's say I go apply physically, then maybe another person again comes and applies online. What will be your advice? Would you prefer for a person to come and apply the job physically or doing it online?
Okay. Now I'll take two more. Yeah, I'm having two people, so I'll take the last two.
Thank you. My name is Emmanuel. I applied for this job and I applied it online. Then I went for the interview. Then after the interview, I was told that I was unlucky. Then I asked someone what might be the problem, and they said that the person that I asked, they were a bit conversant with the place, and what they told me is that the interviewers, they look for the age and size of maybe a bigger person. Do you consider that? Thank you.
Yes, I also have a question. When you apply, you're told maybe to send an email. Then you send an email and you don't get a response. Should you send again the email? Because you might have sent the email, then again they'll advertise and you are not contacted.
Okay, now we've come to the end of the question section. So back to our panelists.
Good evening again. I'll respond to a few questions on touching CVs. So the first one we had, someone talked about online applications, create an account and everything. I've seen applications like for UN, Safaricom, you do the application, you create an account and upload. So what these companies are doing, as I told you, the interview process begins at the moment you start sending your application. When you are sending your application, following instructions is part of the interview. There are instances where you are told send your CV only, but people will still send their CV and their cover letter, or will still send their CV with attachments of the certificates. There are those of us that have CVs attached to our certificates full time. Unatumanga tu hivyo, whether job gani wamesema CV peke yake ama nini, you just send that as your. So the interview process starts that point you are starting to apply for your application. You are doing your application. So for those organizations that you'll see that unaonekana ni kama kurudia, they are testing your patience. You've uploaded your CV, but still they are telling you to fill the information that is on CV on a different page. They are testing your patience, and this is how they help eliminate more candidates for this position. You will have applied 100 people, but will end up getting 20 people now. From these 20 people, these are the people that will see that they really need this job, or these are the people that will see they are serious about this job. One thing that I've come to notice, I'm a recruiter, and this one I know, job seekers spend more time on social media, watching TikTok, watching YouTube, than we spend on doing applications. I've had people have to send applications thrice or four times. Alituma CV, alituma application blank, akakuja akakumbuka hajatuma cover letter, akatuma cover letter peke yake. Again, the third email ametuma sasa CV. Hiyo email ingine anatuma sasa ni ya kuweka subject. Unaona? So the time we spend on doing applications is very important. Give the applications the importance that it deserves. Kama ni application unafanya, create time for that. If it's creating time even in a week, same Sundays I'll be applying for jobs, or every day at 7 I'll be applying for jobs, so that you give it the importance it deserves. So another thing is about the experience. That's now where the cover letter comes in. They are asking for 5 years, uko na 1 year experience, or you are a fresh graduate. Tell them that what you can do, that the 5-year person can do as well. Do a good cover letter and explain that to them. Now, we've talked about CV being done by expert. Itaonekana it's so perfect. Now, why we do CVs, I've told you, nowadays most companies are integrating the ATS system. And the ATS system, kama CV yako haiko perfect, it will not accept. You will not go to the next level of the interview. So, when you are doing swing CVs, we'll do just have the information that you did as a fresh graduate or an attachee. What we are just doing is that we are capturing those skills that you are not unable to capture that will make you get to the interview. So any employer here, recruiters wameka, any recruiter who will want a CV that is simple that they can go through. For fresh graduate, if you have a CV for 1-page CV or 1.5 pages, it's so easy for them to go through. And another thing, when you are sending CVs, unless asked to, always use a PDF. It's easy to open. There are some companies that there are some laptops that will not be able to open the Word documents. But some will send us CVs in a text format also. They'll not be able to open. So do your CV, have it in PDF as you send. Then cover letter length, unless asked to, cover letter should be 3 paragraphs, 1 page. Unless asked to do a cover letter that is 2 pages. Then you talked about beautifying CVs. The ATS system does not recognize CVs with tables. So make sure that if you are beautifying a CV, maybe you have the borders, but tables, no. Colors depends with your career as well. If CVs with colors, if you are a graphic designer, you can have CVs with colors. That one will show your skills as well. While you are recruiting you, or while going through your CV now, we'll understand that this is a graphic designer and he has already proved this by the colors that are in the CV. So depending with the profession, for accountant, for HR, we don't need so many colors in your CV. We want something that is simple and precise, that's something that you can see. Then we talked about sports. Someone talked about sports hobbies in the CV. If you are someone who is in sports, there are companies that will hire you because of your sportsmanship. Maybe you're playing football, you'll get KDF will take you because of that. So have it in your CV. If it's your area, have it in your CV. If it's something that you have passion for. Then someone talked about
I wanted to I hope I can be heard. I wanted also, they want to hear also from the people actually who sit at the other, on the other side of the table, who are the HR people, who will actually ask these questions when they go to the boardroom. And I would have even thought is a good interaction and a good opportunity for them to hear even from the real, now when you're going for vetting. So our Jay has already answered, I think, about 6 questions. He has answered on uploading applications, experience for fresh graduates, how long a CV should be, how long a cover letter should be, about beautifying a CV, how much information you should put in a CV. Yeah, there's some repetitions, but I was thinking maybe I can take, since I've listed all the questions, we can also try and take them from the rest of the team. So there was a question on whether to indicate, and I know Jay already mentioned, but just for the sake of the person who asked, whether you should indicate the marital status in a CV. And I think, see the other similar question. And the issue of the referees. I don't know if you can take this, Jackie? Okay. Eric?
Hello. Thank you very much. I'll take the question of how many people you should indicate in your as your referees. I want to advise you guys, everybody here. If you get this, then some question will be answered. Let us be very, very keen attention. If you see an advert, take your time, read it, and do as the advert instructs you to do. The first step of doing the shortlisting is by checking how you've applied for your job. If the advert says put 3 referees, that is exactly what you do. If you are told to do that and you tell me that available on request, that is when we do it aside. This one does not understand instruction. You get that? If you are told to give 3, just do the 3. Don't tell me to wait and ask later. That is also testing. If one, did you read instructions clearly? You've got of the guys who do examination, yet that exam was written, write your name only. Yeah? So just do as the application or the advert had indicated earlier. You get that? Beryl, I think I will also take another one on that. On the application and the response, yeah? You apply, but you don't get the response. I think the JCV had already indicated that there are many people applying. Recently I did some advert and I think I got around 500 applications on office administrator. If you read carefully, there will be an indication that if you don't hear from us in 2 weeks' time, consider yourself what? Consider yourself. So the advert or the vacancy itself already gives you an indication. If you take 1 month without getting any feedback, you are unsuccessful. But also for the employer, that is my colleagues here, there is also a very good practice which I always call. For those who have been shortlisted, you go for the interview, let us ensure that we give the feedback. I always try that we ensure we give the feedback because people really put a lot of energy, a lot of emotional attachment when they are applying for these jobs. You even use the fare, and at least you deserve a response. Sawa sawa. So for the employers, please, somebody attending interview, ensure you give at least a response. There was a question of there is a beverage, please have it. I've been having a lot of them. So ideally, somebody as well travel Sumu to Vika for an interview. A good employer must have, because there is a recruitment budget. A good employer, of course there are good employers, or sometimes it is because of the finances, but a good employer will always put in the budget at least tea for these guys. When you come to the interview, at least you need a tea to re-energize yourself. I am based in some place. It is very, very cold. 2 weeks back, one candidate who came for the interview started already shivering. We had to go to the kitchen, we paused, get even just a warm water. So it is always, if you are given, they are not testing you, just be disciplined enough. Feel like taking, take that tea. It's going to give you a new energy to even excel in that interview. So we are not testing you unless you start taking 3 plates when you are given just 1 plate. You just need to be very, very, very disciplined. Should I continue very low? I leave first? Okay. Age as a factor. I believe I'll get a backup from my colleague. Age that you are told they were looking for so and so. Also, let us know who is telling us this. We can't verify if that information is true or they just comfort you. Yeah? Most of the jobs or professional jobs, they will even indicate we would prefer age 25 to 30. They have done their assessment and they know the kind of skills they are looking for this age 25 to age 30. Maybe they are looking for somebody with a lot of vigorous energy in this, a lot of interest, somebody who still can give a lot of time in this job. So also let us read carefully, and those job adverts that have indicated the age, it just goes like that. But we are also saying, and the employers know that, we are not discriminating in terms of gender, age, marital status, and that I've said answer somebody who was feeling like, should I put I'm married or not? Yeah, the law does not allow us to discriminate on age, sex, what and what. But being specific and stating that we need age 30 to 40, that is strategic, and they have done the analysis and they know why they need that age. So it is not discriminative, but they just want to fill the gap, and they felt age this to this will fill our gap. So don't be afraid of applying for a job because of your age. I think I was told when I was doing HR that they employ people from age 35. I don't know if you've heard of that, those who did HR. I was told, oh, for you, you will wait up to age 35, that's when you will be employed. I got employed at age 23. So never be discouraged. Take opportunities, and I think something also which is lacking JCV that these people has to know, be very aggressive. Be very aggressive. The time you spend on social media, spend it on the brighter Monday. Be the first 10 applicants. Ensure that if you see an application which is relevant, be the first applicants. So that by the time the recruiter is going to open, you be among the first one, because we also get tired. So we read the first 10 and the rest, and we are done. Somebody also asked about how long should be the cover letter be. The shorter the better. We don't read a lot of things. Let us just be very simple and be honest in what we are doing. I've been given a note and I'll pass it. I'll come back.
In the interest of time, I think we need to be wrapping up, and I see there are a lot of questions that we need to address. There is a question someone asked, do you ever get a disconnect between a CV and the interviewee during an interview? Yes, a lot of times. And we do understand sometimes it could be about the personality of a person. Maybe that person is an introvert. Or also, that person, JCVs, has written a very good CV for that person. But that person has really paid JCVs pesa mzuri. But kufika kwa ground mambo ni tofauti. Mambo ni tofauti. Okay, sometimes you'll find, and this is something that I've noted even with most of the guys who are doing engineering courses. Most people who do engineering courses, wanakuanga watu wametulia sana, wana mambo mingi. They usually do keep to themselves. It's not like someone who has done mass communication or someone who has done public relations. Those are people who are out there, they're extroverts. So most of the time you will see someone has a very good detailed CV, but ukifika kwa interview hana mambo mingi, hana story mob, ni jibu swali jibu, hivyo imeishia hapo hivyo. So sometimes yes, that happens. But then also you may pass the interview and then get the job, and then that is when now the real test begins. When now your skills
your capabilities are now being put to task. There was also another question on what is the importance of dressing. Remember your image, the image that you represent first when you meet someone. It is that image that sticks with them throughout their course of them knowing you. So it is very good you come to the, if it is an interview, you come dressed, and not even just an interview, even any other meeting or interaction we have with your peers, or even when you're going to an official function, the way you present yourself during, as you enter, how you have dressed, how you have kept yourself neat, it really speaks volumes, and it does sell you a lot. There was also another question, is there an age restriction on changing of careers? There is no age restriction. How many of us know Dunstan Makori? For those of us who watch Citizen TV, he's a political analyst. Dunstan Makori. You know Dunstan Makori? Yes. He's a lawyer. Most of the time he's those wale lawyers wanatokeaga mbele ni kama Cliff Ombeta. Kukikuwa na kesi mtu ameshikwa, they are the first people to come and bail you out. Now Dunstan Makori was a teacher. Yes? Dunstan Omari, sorry. Dunstan Omari. He was a teacher. But akasoma law later on in life. And right now he's practicing law. So there's no age restriction. If you feel that the career that you are doing, you need to change, you can just start studying. But the only problem will be that when now you start venturing into the new field, you might now have to start from somewhere lower than where you have previously been. So that is something that you also need to put in mind. There was someone who asked a question about when asked by the panel questions. Yes, we do ask. After we have done the interviews, we do ask the interviewee, do you have any question for us? At this point, you should take that opportunity to really inquire more about the company. Know what is the strategic objective of the company. Where does the company see itself in the next 5 years? You can even further inquire about the role, but don't ask about hii kazi kuna koga na chai ya saa 4. Lunch break inaisha saa ngapi? Please try to look like someone who's more interested about the company. Try ujieke ni kama tayari ushapewa hii kazi. You want to know more about the organization. Ask about their culture. What is their culture like? Those are some of the questions that you need to ask when umeulizwa swali kama hiyo. I think the last one that I'll ask, and then I leave it for someone else to ask to answer some of the questions. Does my social media activity affect your job? Yes. Unfortunately, it does. Most employers are on social media. I am sure most of you have heard of people who have anasema hayuko kazi, ati sijui niko na matanga nimeenda mahali, niko sijui nani ni mgonjwa. But then again, yesterday social media wamepiga picha wakienda safari rally. So also sometimes what you post on social media, yes, your boss could be stressing you in terms of work, but don't go to social media. Huyo boss yangu nakwambia sijaiona mtu kama huyo. And then you write it on social media, and unfortunately your boss sees, or someone sees and forwards the same message to your boss. Immediately you create a certain tension between you and your boss. So your social media is very important. Let me tell you, when we are doing when we are in the process of recruitment, and we have already settled on someone and we are doing background checks, there are various levels of background checks. Background checks is where by now we go and look at maybe your certificate if it's authentic. We look at the previous employers. Yes. So there are companies that even go and check issues like your CRB status. They go and confirm ulikuwa unafanya kazi place hii na hii. So sometimes you may find in a CV you have lied that in this place I worked 2 years, but in real sense you worked 2 months. Let me tell you, that company has been submitting vitu kama NHIF, NSSF, tax, and if that information they go and find it is lacking, that is another issue. Also, there are companies that even go and look at your social media presence. Yes. You know, kuna watu wenye wakiingia social media, they might have a voice and a sound, and whatever wanaweza sema huko hivi nje might come back to ruin the reputation of the company. So it's very important what you post online. Be very particular and try also to protect your brand, because your brand is what sells you. What we say, your personality is what you do wakati watu wengine hawaoni. Be very particular about that.
Thank you, Mike.
Good afternoon. My name is Ats. I've been in the field of HR for quite some time, and I feel so privileged to stand in front of you. I remember when I was like you. See, I think for you coming here today, but we've been told by Barely that others are away. We appreciate and we wish you all the best in your endeavors. There is somebody who asked if you can randomly look for a job or apply for a job. One of my colleagues here has said that one of the things you do whenever you get a job advert, read it keenly, read it very carefully, and see if you match the qualifications that are there. Because, for example, if you have done HR and they're asking for an IT person, and then they're talking about those IT people, there are certain jargons they use. Will you apply for that job? So I think the guiding factor should be the job advert. If you look at it, you see through and you find that these are things that I can do, then go ahead and apply for the job. And then during the interview, you sell yourself, because interview is a time that you want to sell yourself. And you can show the interviewers, despite not having done ABCD, I can be trained, and I also have some knowledge about the particular job that you're applying for. But don't go applying for jobs that, if you asked, the first question you are asked, you have no idea what the job or what the role is all about. Or you have no technical skills, nothing about you matches the job. I hope that is clear. So all the time, and just looking at the qualification, bachelor's degree, 1 year experience, blah, 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 and you're not looking into the details. Ask somebody with more experience to help to break it down to you, so that when you're doing your cover letter and also the CV, don't have one CV for all jobs. That if it is a HR job, if it is an IT job, whatever you find, you just send one CV. No. What should guide you, even how to word your CV, what to change, what to add, should be the job advert. The other question is on discrimination. Somebody asked about cultural or religious beliefs. I think employers are very careful nowadays, because our constitution strictly forbids discrimination on any grounds. And if you go to any organization, they have policies. Anything, we don't discriminate. However, sometimes you may find a certain job, if the job so requires, a certain, you to discriminate based on a certain criteria. For example, if a job needs a woman, maybe you need to balance the positions in your organizations. You can say only ladies are encouraged to apply, because probably you have so many men in public management positions, and you feel that this time we need to have a gender balance. So sometimes the inherent requirements of a job may permit you to discriminate. But discrimination is strictly forbidden. And if a candidate can go, can take you to court, a candidate can take an organization to court and say, I was so qualified, but they denied me because I told them I worship the sun, or because 1, 2, 3, 4. And if the court, you are able to prove, then that organization can be penalized. So we are very, very careful, and even where we have to discriminate, we have to ensure that the law is on our side. Thank you.
Good afternoon again. So one also, just to reiterate my
my colleagues' sentiments that you should be very lucky in this career talk. Some of us never got this chance, and so feel privileged, and I think you're going to gain a lot, and probably be at the forefront encouraging your colleagues also to be attending such career talks. So a lot has been talked about in terms of the questions that you asked. I'll only probably emphasize on the aspect of social media presence. And as my colleague said, social media has become one of the recruitment tools. And a lot of young people have lost opportunities to attend interviews or even to be recruited because of what they post or comment on social media. So you need to be very careful. And recently, even for those who want to go and study abroad, it's become one of the requirements in the questionnaires that are filled. The online forms, like the US Embassy, Canadian Embassy, you have to put your social media handles, and they're going to check what you've been posting. So you need to be very careful so that it doesn't become and also the aspect of whatever you post on social media has an impact even when you apply for the job. For instance, you apply maybe to a human rights organization. You need a job as a human rights officer. Yet in social media, you're the one who is encouraging people to beat up their parents, to rape people, isn't it? Eh? When somebody puts a post about rape, you're the first one to go there and say she deserved it because of the way she was dressed. So already, you have already lost that opportunity to become the human rights officer, because what you are portraying yourself out there is totally different from what is expected. So let us be careful about what we post. And you cannot hide and run away from the social media. Even if you change your profile 100 times, they are able to get to see the posts even that you posted since the time you made your presence on social media. There is the aspect of dress code, and you were asked, somebody asked, how does the dress code influence your chance to be recruited? We all know that different jobs require you to dress differently, isn't it? For instance, somebody going for modeling is not going to dress like somebody going to the office. Or rather, the kind of job that you're going to do will dictate how you're going to do it. So it is upon us to do some research and understand what kind of dressing is relevant for the job that you are applying for, and dress appropriately. Okay, I'm sure you have seen memes all over about Strathmore students, have you? Yeah, like when you meet a college student from Strathmore, unafikiria ni mzazi anatembea kwa street. Personally, I went through Strathmore for one of my business courses, and at the gate, the guard has a right to tell you to go back if you're not dressed decently and appropriately. Okay, yeah, so let us respect the dress codes for the different careers and professions that we are going to pursue. And dress code means from head to toe, okay? Not just the dress that you're wearing, even the shoes that you're wearing, and how your face looks. And you can imagine you are going for a job as a HR and you have red lipstick, yellow eyeliner, you know, you are looking like a clown. Yeah, so let us be very careful about how we dress, because the perception you create at the interview, that is how they expect you to continue behaving. So don't just say it's just an interview. No, that is how you present yourself to your potential employer. Then there was the issue of age and size factor. Size, unless somebody is looking for a bouncer. I can't see the guy who asked the question. So, yeah, and culture, yeah. So if, for instance, you are applying for a job as a bouncer, I would expect you to be well built, isn't it? Not necessarily fat, but you know, you look like you can scare somebody off, isn't it? Yeah? Rather than somebody looking very tiny, you're going to wonder how vile atabeba mtu kutoka kwa dance floor. Yeah? So The size aspect, I think, considers the kind of job that you're applying for. So the more well-built you appear, probably as a bouncer, the better your chances, yeah? And also, imagine you are a gym instructor, but sasa when uko na pot belly imefika kule mbele, and you're saying I'm a gym instructor, are they going to take you seriously? No, they will not, yeah? So let us also, our body shapes and sizes also, sometimes they have to conform to the jobs that we are applying for. And there was the issue of discrimination. I think my colleague handled it in terms of culture, in terms of religion. Some jobs may actually discriminate based on that. For instance, if it's a Christian organization and God forbid you are an atheist, are you going to apply for that job? Or even if you apply because you are looking for money, are they going to take you? Or they might take you, but along the way, they are going to realize that you're not fit for that. So you have to fit. There is the aspect of the organizational culture fit and the job culture fit. So those are some of the things that are going to put us off and probably discriminate us without somebody shouting about it. So I hope I've responded to quite a number of them, and I'll give a colleague some.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. My name is Patrick Kisenga. I work here in Zetech in the HR department. Someone asked about the career gap, or maybe how to account for the CV gap. For example, sometimes we as HR, we also conduct due diligence. Maybe you can go outside there and maybe after some time doing some work, you become a thief. Maybe you are security and you decide to be a thief, and after some time then you also decide to come back. So you should be able to at least to account your CV. From this year to this year, I was working at Zetech University. From this year to here, I was working with this organization. For example, like this time around 2020, there was some redundancies with COVID-19. And as a professional, you can't just sit down and relax because now there is no job. For example, some people were declared redundant because of the COVID-19 and they could not get somewhere for job. So each and every time you attend interview, have answers at least for those gaps. For example, sometime you may not be able to get job. As you continue to apply for those jobs, you should also at least try to look for something like CSR activities. We have volunteer jobs, isn't it? We have so many. I like those people actually. Most of them come and say, like during the interview, say, I'm freelancing, I'm visiting maybe the sick, or maybe in the church. I normally go to church to do some few things. So you should be able at least to account for that, and also ensure whatever you are saying, it is actually somehow relevant to your career. All right. Another question was about now I had applied for a job and I did not get the feedback, and after maybe a month I saw the handbag again. So first what I can say is at least take time to read through the handbag. Maybe it can say I'm saying now about the re-advertised job, because now they did not call you, but after some time you have seen now the handbag. And maybe most of them will say those who earlier applied for this job, they don't need to reapply. Or they can say those who applied, they are also advised to reapply. So those instructions sometimes are given. Or maybe if there is none of those instructions, you are advised to apply. And actually for the judiciary job that was re-advertised, most of the people who got that job were the one who reapplied. All right? So with those few remarks, I say thank you, and as you look for job, sometimes also you need to work hard. Don't give up, because don't give up. What is supposed to do is just continue applying, and one day, one time, you will get somewhere. And the jobs are there. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Thank you. I just want to touch on two areas. The first one is a case where you have got two courses and you are wondering whether to apply with all the qualifications or not. As we've mentioned, we are emphasizing that kindly read the advertisements, and from the advert you will decide. There are times, there are courses that goes together. Maybe if I start with a higher level, you are in finance and you know the advert is finance administration. So obviously they'll want someone with qualifications in finance, maybe bachelor, and also they would want someone with bachelor in administration or business management or even a diploma. So assess the situation, read carefully. There are times where they want someone with diploma, but then they say that certificate in this course is an added advantage. So take advantage of that. Remember, that is what may make you stand out and get that opportunity. So be very keen, be very careful as you read the advert. Otherwise, sometimes this would be a form of confusion. Maybe you are confused in choosing your course and you want to extend the confusion to the organization. Obviously, at the end of the day, they will be like, this person has done engineering, on the one end he has done medicine course. So the question is, how do we bridge this and make them be one? If it works, well. If it doesn't work, please stick to one that fits the advert that has been put out there for you. Remember, some of them also are professional qualifications, like you've done Bachelor of Accounting and Finance, or BCom Finance option or Accounting option, and then they want ISPAC. That is Institute. You are a member of ISPAC. Huh? You've done CPAK, so that goes very well. But please try to ensure that you follow the instructions. Then we have someone talking about the attachments. This is an area I've had a challenge with, especially in the teaching field where I've been in Zetech, where our students rush for attachments, and some, in fact, I remember some asking me, Walimu, are you coming, why are you coming in the third month? Me, I want to finish and go. It's true, our student there, I'm hoping you're one of our students, because I know we are mixed up here, we have some more staff. But then it's important that you go there with the mind of securing a job and not a mind of an attachment. If I was somewhere else, I would have asked you to say amen. Amen? Yeah, so that is very important. When you get there, please don't ask yourself, when am I finishing the attachment so that I can go? Have a changed mind, a transformed mind, that I am going there and hoping that they will create a department, that an opportunity will rise up. And how can an opportunity arise? I've seen cases where a lady goes for maternity, you are invited for an internship, she decides not to come back. She says, I want to take care of my family, I want to take care of my child. And that is how an opportunity comes up. Sometimes the department you're working in, someone is an assistant and leaves the opportunity after getting a greener pasture elsewhere. And who is going to be given the opportunity? Most likely, if you demonstrated organizational, you've demonstrated that you fit in the institution and you are within the culture of the organization, they'll give you the first priority. So please don't go there and you'd want just to finish and go. That would be so unfortunate. In fact, I would challenge you to even request for an extension when you get there. However, let us also not to be over ambitious. When you ask how long do you want to be here, then or where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, as she asked. I know some, as she said, may say, I just want to be an attachment, and when I'm done, I'll go back. However, someone would also say that I want to, in the next 5 years, I want to be the IT manager. In the next 5 years, I want to be the finance manager. While the finance manager sitting there is on permanent and pensionable contract, you know, and is having 10 years to go. So is it that you want to bring confusion in the organization so that you push this person out and then you take up the role? So be very cautious that you go there with an open mind, with a mind that if given an opportunity, you will give your best. And this you should not even say. It should be even depicted on how you carry out yourself, how you conduct yourself, how you perform your duties, and interact with the rest of the colleagues. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Irene. My friend, application. Should I send an application online or a physical application? And I believe what she meant was taking the application physically to the organization, yeah? Okay, then I think I will take you back to the advert. The instructions of how to make your application will always be in the advert. So if you're keen enough to read that, if the advert is saying drop them physically, or rather in most cases you'll find you're being told to send online to a certain email address. And then now you ignore sending to the email address and you decide, I know where this company is, I'll go and drop maybe at the reception or at the gate. The likelihood of you not actually even getting to be contacted, you failed from the word go through the application. So it is very important that you, like everyone has emphasized here, read the advert and instructions will be there. So in most cases nowadays, the application you realize they are online. So I would encourage online instead of maybe physical, not unless the instructions are different. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Oh, it's evening. It's evening. I wanted to answer a question where someone asked if there is an age restriction changing one career from one career to another. That one is correct. There is an age restriction because if you look at most adverts, they'll give you the range of the age. You should be between 25, 35, over 40. If you are 50 years and you want to change your career, surely, that one is very, very late. So if you want to change your career, you should change it when you are young enough. I think before you are 40 years. That one can help you. Then there's also a student who asked about a question when you have attended an interview. Should you ask the interviewers a question? That is very, very important. Sometimes they just want to test your communication skills. It's important to ask at least something. Even when do you expect a response of that interview, the results of the interview? There are some employers who will declare right away, or others will tell you, will follow it up, they'll inform you. But it's important to ask something. Don't just keep quiet when you are given such an opportunity. Thank you.
Sorry, I think. Oh, there's just one thing I wanted to add on. Because we are, as I said, these are mostly sports, and there was a question there of how to incorporate that. Apart from adding to your CV, you know there are a lot of things you do in sports, right? You travel, don't you? You travel. You know there are skills you're learning, what we call soft skills. So when you get an opportunity and you go to the interview, you say I'm a team worker. In fact, I was in a, is it rugby? Yeah, I'm guessing from. So yeah, so I learned this. Maybe the team manager usually assigns you some duties to supervise the rest when they are not able to come. You say, in fact, I even arranged this team when we had a tournament, I don't know where. You have won medals. Basketball, people have won medals. Football, some of you are already in Arambi Starlets, the ladies and the rest. Mention, those are achievements. Usually in your CV, you'll get an opportunity to write where your achievements are. Highlight them. And when you go for the interview, do what? Highlight them. So a student who is very active in clubs, societies, and sports cannot be the same with a student who only comes to class and goes back to the hostel to go through TikTok and the rest. You can never be the same. Sawa. You may not notice it, but you're building those skills. By the time you get out here, you know how to relate with people. So when you get to the office, you know how to talk to your colleagues. You know how to lobby for your department. There's so much you learn from being in those activities. So I encourage you, when you get an opportunity, take it. Even traveling around Kenya, even if it's Kenya alone, I mean, you see a lot, you understand other cultures better and all that. You get what I mean? So ensure when you get an opportunity to amplify those things that you have as a student, you do. You saw the CV that Jay presented. You saw it was a student from JQuat. They even wrote there the chair, was it chairman? Na ameyeka hapo chairman for a certain club, sindio? Or it's a society in the university. That to me, that one I would give them an opportunity without thinking. Like if I get 2 people, like those ones, and they're looking for internship, but you nafikiria, you sifikiri. I just give the one who seems to have done much more in school. Gone for sports, was in the sports team, they won, what do you call them, those medals, those leagues. You won that league you scored, how many, whatever you scored there, whatever those things you do there. Sawa sawa. So I hope you take that today. So if you're in those teams, I can see your coach here. Coach, the 2 coaches here, salute. Yeah, keep the team going. You're doing a great job. And you guys, you even learn to learn management from them. See, they're managing you very well. And I know you guys are very energetic and with the hormones and everything else. Si ni ukweli? Ni stage 2 ya maisha. Kudos team, I mean kudos coaches. Yes. So I think I'll give back to the moderators. Is there anyone who asked a question and we have not answered? What had you asked? I think it was answered by Victor, and I think he said, put what is relevant. Also, at this point in time, by the time you're pursuing a diploma, a certificate, or a degree, so you know what you want. You cannot be doing IT, then you are in CPA classes, and you're also doing education, B.Ed. Sindio? You get what I mean? Okay, you have, I'm not saying you cannot, but what I'm simply saying, you also need to have in mind what you want. All right? Have in mind what you want. You cannot be bahati sharing. Unajua saa zingine unaweza fanya course mingi ukifikiria sasa in my French we say wotega. Unatega huku na huko na pale. Sasa pale pataanguka mbele unaangukia. Don't make that mistake. If you're not sure about the course that you're taking, you are the career services office. Go there, have a discussion. Sometimes you just need a few, you need to do like a transfer. I'm not very sure, they will advise you. You need to do a transfer and do what you think is your passion, what you are good at, when your mind is clear. Seek advice, that's why the office is there. Sawa sawa, take advantage of it. So it can work for you. If it is a professional course, say you are doing become accounting, you have done CPA, you decided to take the course together with CPA, and what else? ACC or whatever other those courses that, you know, are relevant, and some IT course. You understand? But as I've said again, don't do B.Ed, then you go do something very different and another something very different. Get the clarity from the word go. You have heard it's not easy to change careers. Leonida, you know, I'm in an academic institution. You can actually change careers after 50. Yes. I have my staff who are almost 60 and now they are pursuing their PhDs. Relevant to, of course, what happens, you know, like their careers are different. Professors will retire at 75, okay? So if you are planning to be a professor, maybe like me, I've been working in the office. Maybe when I get to I'm also doing my PhD. So in case I graduate, which I pray so, maybe when I'm at 60, I say easy kazi za kukaa kwa kiti from morning to evening is very tiring. Maybe I want to sisemi kazi ya walimu ni rahisi, but I'm just saying it has more flexibility. Sindio? Careers are different. So I say, I want to cross over, and also maybe because I want to share the knowledge that I've gained from practice, which could be different from what is done academically. Sasa niseme, I'll finish the PhD, and then I start teaching. Sindio? Yeah, and then I've now changed from practice, Sindio, to teaching. I'm now an academia. I'm now in academia. I'm now a teacher from a HR professional practitioner. You get what I mean? But what she was saying is very correct. You can't wait for 50 years. For other areas, I think it's only teaching, and I think it is medicine and teaching. I think those ones are the ones at respected, and legal and the rest. Most of these others will usually ukifika 50 sasa wanaanza kuprepare for retirement. Sawa. Yeah, sasa unataka kuchange when you are retiring. Anyway, long story, but you get the point. Sawa. I think with that, we have answered your question, madam. Hi.
Very quickly, I just want to tell you that I think one of the things that came as a blessing in disguise is COVID. And COVID has shown us that the world is one networked global village. And for you, because you're very young, let me tell you, opportunities are there. And opportunities are there globally. Don't restrict yourself to just Kenya. Don't restrict yourself to social media, because now you have internet. Go into the internet, look for jobs that are relevant to you, the courses you have taken. See if there are even certifications that you can do. And I'm telling you, some of you, if you are very serious in pursuing your careers, you will find jobs anywhere in the world. And at this moment in time, you can work from anywhere. So msianze kusikia the stories that people say hakuna kazi, and then you start getting discouraged. Kazi ziko, let me tell you. And jobs are evolving each and every day. And because you're young, take advantage of this global connectivity. Go know what is out there. What are people in America doing? What are people in Asia doing? What are people in Australia doing? What can I do to put myself as a global citizen? Acquire those skills, apply for those jobs. Don't fear. Apply for jobs wherever. And you will be surprised at what you can do. And because you're young, you have no responsibilities. You know, some of us, if I get an opportunity in Australia, I'll start now thinking, my this, my that, my whatever, before I organize myself. But for you, it's just your kabag or something and you go. So please open up your mind, and because you're learned, you came to Zetech to learn. Differentiate yourself from other people. Sawa, don't let your degree, you can laugh, but let me tell you, differentiate yourself. Because opportunities are there, people are making money, young people are getting rich, they are becoming millionaires, and even those in sports. There are sports scholarships in those countries, in America, in Europe. Those scholarships are there in AU, what? EUA or whatever, in Emirates. Those opportunities are there. Go for them, my people. Go for them and bring that wealth to Kenya, okay?
Sorry, something that I was about to forget. Someone had talked about you've done IT, you find yourself in accounting. What I would like to advise is that when you are going outside, you might not land in your area of career. You've done accounting, you might find yourself as an inventory controller. So when you find yourself in such a situation, try do a course related to that. Don't just to be relevant. If you don't want to do that, or if you want to still go to accounting, don't take 2 or 1 or more year in a career that you don't want to pursue. So make sure if you want to pursue that career, take a course in that career so that you can be relevant in that profession. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. I hope I haven't cut anyone out. So I want to pigia makofi. Sawa? Ngoja kwenu wapole. So you are taught by the dean how tunawapigia makofi. Factorial ngapi? Aya, mko ready? Aya, tuanze. Very much for taking time to come here and be with us. My name is Pius Musioki. I coordinate career services here at Zetech. So I will be reaching out to all of you, tafadhali. So we want to create so many opportunities for these young guys. So as I reach to you, I know you have attachment, internships, and also jobs. So please, when I come, msinifukuze. Sawa. So I want to invite one student to come and just to give a vote of thanks as we close. Come, Kevin.
All protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Well, all protocol observed. ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I'd like to thank the school administration for the energy they are putting towards ensuring that we are market ready. Also, I'd like to thank the panelists for creating your time to come and share with us the insights of the job market. And we are really much appreciating for this that you're doing. At least most of us are going to come out of school market ready, and we hope that you're going to receive us on the other end. For all of you who created time, I'd like to thank you for this, and I hope that when another forum like this is being called, I hope we are going to create time and attend. So I'd like us to appreciate ourselves, appreciate the panelists, the school administration, and you yourself by 3 factorials. So kindly, let's hold our hands. So let's go, let's start. 3. So thank you so much, and do have a blessed evening.
Thank you very much. So we want to do a photo shoot as you drink your soda. So let's do the photo shoot.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is that with some gifts for our guests, just to appreciate you, and so that you can go out there and market us, and at least musitoke mkono, sindio? Yes, so I think Edgar, you can come along so that we can have the giving of the gifts. Edgar, Cyrus, kindly remain behind. So Edgar, you can come, we give the gifts, and after the gifts, we are going to have a photo shoot, and some of our students can join us, so that it becomes a memorable day. Then from there, we can proceed to our second session. Asante sana.
Kindly let's remain seated. I'd like to welcome the first person will be our coach Maurice Obilo, who is going to give a gift to one of our guests.
Yeah, so this is our coach for basketball, and our basketball is our basketballers were the best in the country for the year. We were #1 in all the universities, so I want to give him the honor of giving a gift to, I don't know where she's gone, but we can start with you. Yes, Karibu. You can go there for a photo, and you can clap as they do that. Smile. Obi, you're not smiling. What's up? And then we want the Zetech brand to be in front. Yes. Na mukaribiane COVID imeisha. Yeah, thank you. Yes. Next we can have Sirengo. You can come over. And we can have our next guest. Panelists. I don't know, gender, we will see about gender. I think wacha hiyo ishe for today, eh? Unaona wakaribiani ni sawa tu. Makofi lakini, makofi. We can have coach, karate coach. We have karate coach. And then the other coach is Kitolo Yuko. Rugby, karibia pia, as we finalize. Yes, so this is our karate coach. Mtu akileta maneno hapa tutafanya kung fu. So here at least we have gender balance. So yes, clap for them. Yes. Check the camera and say pickles. Yes. Asante sana. Thank you. We'll be where's coach? Rugby. Who's representing rugby? Oh, come on. Our next guest. We cannot remember all their names. Were they even introduced? I forgot. Okay, thank you. Camera, and you even smile. Your picture, pana. You're not smiling. Okay, then next is Cyrus. Do we have Cyrus in the room? Cyrus Baraza, karibu. Our next panelist. Sasa gender balance inakuja mzuri. Yes. Madam Monica karibia. Yes, asante. Did they smile? I didn't check. Wame smile? Kweli? Niangalilieni hapo Wakikosa kusmile wanarudia. Sasa watasema nini? What's a cheese ni old fashioned. Waseme nini? Waseme chapati. Masoda. Turn the back the other side. And Monica, you're not smiling? Hey, Jay, you're laughing. Ay, okay. Asanteni sana. Wewe unataka gift kweli? Wezi kwa mwenyewe? Sawa. So now we want to give the honors to Beryl Mate, Director HR, to gift is there another person remaining? Who else? No, the chair, wachaneni na wawili wamekaa hapo. Nani mwingine? Where? Sasa ukikaa huko nyuma tutakusahau. Nani mwingine? Which other coach do we have? Job, yes. Job ni aje bana. Simama, tall guy, simama. Kuja. And any other person remaining? There's you. Okay, just have a seat.